slides for FTS with you. And after that, we will go on with detailed presentation of SIFoodware Solution. First, at FTS Bulgaria, we are proud to have more than 20 years of experience with different IT projects. And you can see that FTS has been founded in Bulgaria in 1994. And we first started with the Danish ERP system Maconomy, now known as Deltek Maconomy. And during the years, we achieved to generate and service many customers of Maconomy, not only in Bulgaria, but also in Ukraine, Poland, where we founded offices in 2000. In 2003, we became a Microsoft partner for Microsoft Dynamics AX, or Acceptor, and soon we received the recognition from Microsoft to be a Microsoft Gold certified partner, and we were the first to make the localized version of AX for Bulgaria. In 2007, FTS established an office in Varna with the idea to reach and service the customers in East Bulgaria. That was also a possibility to introduce a new product in our portfolio, the next ERP system from Microsoft, Microsoft Dynamics NEV, and two vertical solutions in it for the transport industry, Navitrans, and a hotel management solution, Navi Hotel. In 2010, we decided to include also Microsoft Dynamics CRM as the missing part of Microsoft Business Products. In 2011, mFiles as a document management system became a part of FTS products. mFiles has a lot of opportunities regarding the processing and archiving of documents. And during the years working with Microsoft Dynamics NEV, we found that there is a lot of gaps in the manufacturing processes met in this product in NEV. And it was very interesting for us to find most of the solutions in SIFoodware development in this specific area. And a few months ago, we established a partnership with Schauwe Informatisering company in order to give our customers the possibility to work easily and effectively in a wide range of complex situations. So generally FTS has knowledge and expertise for 22 years so far. We have experience with different ERP systems and vertical solutions. And today we have 4 offices in Sofia, Moscow, Varna, and Kiev. Our team has over 60 professionals, most of them with more than 5 years of experience. And we consistently improve our knowledge to serve our customers best. Our projects, which are over 250, are spread in most of the countries in Central and Eastern Europe, and also in USA, Brazil, India, and Taiwan. We are dedicated to supplying the latest technology innovations and know-how to our customers, and that's why we decided to present this theme about the innovations and last trends in the manufacturing delivered by SIFoodware. And now we can go on with this detailed presentation of SIFoodware. Thank you.
Sure. Dodder, thank you very much. Alright, we'll switch to technology so everybody can see my screen now, or should be able to see my screen. Good morning, my name is William. Dodder, do you see my screen, or just to check?
Yes, we do.
Okay, very good. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining this webinar, and to the people of FTS, thank you for inviting me to join you to give to share you a bit about well, what we do in the Netherlands and what we do with SIFoodware as our vertical solution. Today we will focus on quality and how to comply with quality. But in general, there are a lot more reasons why companies come to us nowadays. And I'll tell you a bit more about the company in a few seconds. But first of all, I want to look at those reasons. If you say, what are the challenges at your company? And these are probably challenges that you will recognize. Whether it is related to planning or production, or whether it is related to tracking and tracing or quality, or delivery reliability. These are all pain points, challenges, issues that many of the companies that we work with today are facing. And we'll see that in a second. We'll be solving those issues. So a bit about Schouw as a company. We have been in business since 1998, so a little over 16 years, and all that we did was has always been into the food industry. Straight from the beginning, we focused on the food industry, and we over the years we developed our intellectual property. So if you look at our solutions, they're based on a lot of experience. We have approximately 300 customers, 150 in the Netherlands, 150 outside the Netherlands, ranging, well, they can be found all over the world. We run this practice with 115 employees and 20 worldwide international reselling partners, of which FTS is one. And to start with, I would like to show you a bit of our expertise, because I believe that a vertical focus as a consequence it's a reason for success. Like FTS selected 2 other verticals already and is now orienting towards the food industry. I really think that if you look for a partner that understands your industry, that you can get much more out of your ERP solution. So if we say, okay, I'm looking for a partner that understands my industry, and if you look at the Schouw customers, we have customers in a number of different industries. Fresh produce is one of them. You probably recognize 1 or 2 of the names. Most of the names are Dutch, I have to be honest. Whether you're in fish or meat, we've handled all those, and functionalities and lessons learned of all those different solutions have been taken along into the solution that we have nowadays. But what is probably more important to the industry is to say you are much more than an industry, you're also a typology. Because it is a world of a difference whether you are a distribution company or whether you are a manufacturing company. And of course, based on your business processes. And the second thing that's really important that we have learned over the years is the typology of your business. We're not zooming into that today. The business processes are truly different for a fresh company than they are for a company that's producing long shelf life products. For example, Fishmasters, the company on the bottom right here, is producing frozen fish. They have quite some similarities with Eurocaps, which is another Dutch company based in Rotterdam, who are involved in the production of these Nespresso coffee cups. So you may be in a different industry, but your processes may be very similar based on the typology that you're in. Just a short word about our customers. Moving on to our products. Like FTS, we have chosen the Microsoft platform as a platform of choice. So for years now, we've been working with Microsoft Dynamics, and we do that based on Dynamics NFV, Dynamics AX, work with Office 365, and when it comes to hosting, we prefer Azure as our solution. On top of Microsoft Dynamics, we have developed 3 different solutions. One for fresh produce, the fruits and vegetables industry, one for food companies with Dynamics NFV, and one for AX. We'll talk about the second one today. And of course, we've also developed solutions for business intelligence, and we have partnered with a number of technology partners. I'll tell you more about that in a second. Today, we'll focus on SIFoodware NFV. So, just to zoom in, what is Microsoft Dynamics? What is this ERP application that we are talking about? So, quite often come to us and say, I don't want to work with separate applications anymore, or I want to grow, but well, I have this specific accounting solution and I have a lot of Excel sheets, and such it's difficult for me to grow because I can't oversee it anymore. So this is the situation where they come in. So they often start with an accounting solution. They most likely also have a production software solution, and many companies have a lot of Excel sheets. It's probably quite familiar. I think anybody of us has seen it. What do we sell? If we sell Dynamics and if we sell SIFoodware, we sell an integrated solution, integrated and business-wide. We try to cover all of your business processes. And of course, that relates to the finance, and your general ledger is there. We'll see that in a second. It relates to sales, purchase, customer relationship management. It takes logistics into account, and it takes production into account, but also quality, an area that is, for example, not covered in standard energy, but is covered in our vertical solution. So we go through all the businesses. Now, I always tell, if I speak with customers, I always tell them, if you do not know the difference, you do not see the difference. So here's my secret. I'm going to tell you where the difference is. Like I said, business-wide applications for food companies. And if you look at the base, we build upon Dynamics NFV. And Dynamics NFV does a lot of things with regards to finance, with regards to sales and purchase, with regards to logistics, production planning. But there are also a number of areas that that does not fulfill. That's where we step in. So, for example, when it comes to a complete quality module, the third column here, starting from complaints, we'll see that in a second. Moving on to inspection status, quality control, and product specifications. That's a totally separate module. If you look at the fourth column, that's our production stack, where we've taken the existing production functionality and we've enriched it. For example, we've made it to look more into the sales history than standard NFV does. So there is functionality that's built on top of NFV or besides NFV. There's also functionality that was built completely within NFV. But always, in all that we did, we tried to stay as close as possible to standard NFV. So moving from that point, and often once we have deployed ERP at our customers, they want to do different things with it. And they want to connect the web shop, or they want a portal, or they want to do other things with incoming documents. And so this is how we look at the ecosystem. First of all, it's about your company. But once we've covered that with a number of solutions, we can also look into the possible solutions from the vendor side, whether you can scan your incoming invoices, digitize them, recognize them within the ERP system, or whether you want a web shop, whether you want to deal with EDI if you're dealing with retailers. That's how we do not invent everything ourselves. We try to focus on food-specific challenges. And whenever something is generic, we prefer to work with third parties there. But overall, we prefer to be in control of the chain. So over the years, we have delivered 275 projects ourselves with 100% food focus. This is probably not why you were here today, but I think it's relevant to mention it. As NFV, as ERP systems in general generate a lot of data, it's important to turn the data into intelligence. And it's good to know, if you are considering moving to a new software solution, that we built a complete business intelligence solution on top of NFV. Because not only are we using the NFV data, we're also using the data that comes out of SIFoodware. For example, quality-related data. So we use a separate business intelligence solution here, and we add a number of food-specific key performance indicators that you can use straight out of the box. Just a few examples. Like I said, the solution, or like you saw, the solution was available on tablets and mobile phones as well. Over here you see delivery reliability, for example, or customer complaints, or your sales overviews per month, the margins, etc. And some production statistics. There's one final thing that I would like to cover really quickly before we move into the application, and that is the approach. Because you can have a good partner to work with, you can have a good solution to work with, but most of us do not implement ERP solutions every day. So it is important to be aware of the fact that the partner has a methodology to actually implement the ERP solution. Microsoft has its own methodology called SureStep, and this implies a number of steps, a number of phases. We have taken SureStep and we've made it food specific for the food industry. We're sharing that with our partners. So if there's anything related specific for our solution, it's available to our partners. And there are a number of phases that we will take you through throughout the project in order to go from this initial conversation to a successful new system. Are there any questions right now that we need to answer? Otherwise, I will just move on. Okay, I'll move on. So, just to start, we all know it nowadays, and we all have smartphones nowadays, so people are looking for software solutions that are easy to use for employees. If you use Microsoft Dynamics Anything, you can use it on a variety of platforms. You can use it through a web browser, on a Windows client, which we will use in a few minutes, or integrated in Office 365. And nowadays it's also available on tablets and mobile phones. So whatever you want to do and wherever you want to use your ERP, it's available to you. Even more, Microsoft assumes a role-based solution. And we will see that in a second. So for every role in the organization, they have set up a role center with a number of specific tasks. So every day when you log into your application, you will recognize the application because it's exactly the same. It's easy to use. There's the relevant information, and if you want to modify it, it's flexible to modify. So let's switch to the application now. Here we are. And I'll switch to the role center right away. This is my role center. So what do I see in my role center? Over here I see a number of, by the way, I'm a sales manager. And over here I see a number of tasks that I have to carry out as a sales manager. For example, as a sales manager, I need access to my sales orders. That is also the reason why you don't see any purchase orders over here, because I'm a sales manager and as a purchase manager. I have an overview of my items, so for my customers. For example, I can open up a customer card here for a customer based in Amsterdam. Or I can access my items, and in this case let's open up the chocolate assortment box, and this is the item card for my chocolate assortment. So this is the role center with my most important links. Over here I see what I call stacks, and the stacks, they're simply a digital replacement of a stack of paper on your desk. If we look at the number of sales quotes open, the number of sales orders open, the counters here will increase when more sales orders are created. Over here on the bottom I have the ability to add my customers. So for example, let's say I am in charge of 5 different retail chains that I call every day. I may want to have them added over here. So my information quickly there. On the other side, on the right side here, you can see built-in business intelligence. Having the right information at the right time is very important here. One other thing that we can do here, and that makes the application very flexible to use, is the fact that I can search for information. So for example, if I want to look for the roles that Microsoft defined, I can move over, I can search for the function over here, and I can go there directly. One second, that was the wrong button. I'll show you what I wanted to. I'll show you what I wanted to show you. If you go to that's it. So if we're talking about these roles, Microsoft comes up with a number of default roles. For example, the role of sales manager that I was talking about in a second, that's the role that I have right now. In addition, at Schouw, we come up with a number of other roles. So for example, if you're working in quality, quality was not defined in anything. So we defined quality and we defined the role around it. By the way, what I just did, I switched from the home page to the departments page. That is, of course, where you can see all the application. And in my case, I have all the rights to do that, but you can restrict that from a user perspective. Let's switch back to the PowerPoint, and let's look at the let's look at the quality story, because that's why we were here today. These are challenges that customers come to us in case of quality issues. Yeah. For example, the second one, I want to respond quickly in case of recall. I mean, we all know the messages. This is a Dutch press message of a supermarket that did a recall for some soup because the soup was not safe to eat. So what happens in case of a recall? This is what happens. First of all, it starts with a complaint from the customer. The customer calls you and says, listen up, I have this product in my hands and, well, they look funny or they smell funny. So there may be a risk. But the first thing that we need to do is to block the inventory of the finished product. And let's see how we do that in the application. Switching back and moving into the quality part. In the quality part, there are 4 modules. First one that we will use is non-conformances or complaints. In this case, I will create a customer non-conformance. I'll create a number. Okay. And I will select an item. Let's say that we select the item. Sorry, I went a bit too far. First of all, I need to answer or fill in the customer information. So let's say that the store from Amsterdam, they filed a complaint about the chocolate. And I need to fill in the location code. There we go. Let's try it one more time. There we are. Why is my now fixable? So I selected the customer, I selected the item. I can see here, for example, that if there would be an expiration date, I could apply that as well. And I fill in a non-conformance description. So in this case, the product smells strange. Furthermore, I can assign categories. In this case, it's about product quality. It's about the smell. And about the reason, we don't know yet. Have to perform research. So I can fill in more reasons, I can fill in sub-reasons, and in this case it's about 2 boxes that we have. Also, I can fill in my lot number here. And my lot number is basically the unique ID on this item that allows me to do tracking and tracing all the way back to the original item. And you see some alternative information here, so for example, a vendor lot number, etc. Now, if I reduce the screen and I open up this one, I can set up actions for my non-conformers. So here's my colleague Charles, and I want him to check the production procedures. And the date planned is obviously tomorrow, and it needs to be finished by the Friday. Also, I want Isabel to send out a press release that we are working on this. And I want to do that today, and I want it to be finished today. And so in this case, I can I can create a number of actions, both internal and external, and I can also, if we go on the top here, there's a button send email. That means I can send an email to the persons that have an action assigned to them, so I can really follow up directly. What's probably more important is to look at the lot and to look at the product. Probably we've already sold it, but probably we've not. So what I just spoke about is the lot number that we will have. You saw it over here. I haven't filled in one yet. And a lot number in footwear gets an inspection status. I'll show you what an inspection status is right now. So just to go back to the process, we had a complaint from a customer. So we're going to block the inventory of the finished product, and we're going to perform tracking and tracing. Now, if I would go to this screen, and I would press the button, I would see all my stock. And over here, you see that I do not only sell chocolate, I also sell garlic butter, but there's the chocolate as well. In this case, we have chocolate milk, some mixed vegetables. We see the inventories here. We see where it's stored. What is important here is the inspection status. Right now, you see inspection status received, you can see inspection status on hand. I'll show you what inspection status does. If we go over to the inspection statuses, these are the inspection statuses. So this was the one that we saw, and this was the one that we saw. With an inspection status, you can change the availability of your items based on the quality. So it's not that we block an item or we approve an item, now we assign an inspection status to it. So for example, the code ONHD means on-hand inventory. And it means that my item is available for sales. I can take it into account in the planning. I can pick it. I can consume it in production if I want to. I can transfer it. And probably the most important one, I can post a purchase invoice. On the other hand, if the other inspection status that was sold was received, if an inspection status is set to received, it is available to be taken along into the planning calculation for production purposes, but I cannot actually pick it in my warehouse, or I cannot actually consume it because I first have to carry out a quality control. And that's what it says, receipt control. So this is applied to all the incoming items. Now, there are pretty much two ways you can set this up. There are companies that have two inspection statuses, available or not available. There are also customers here, for example, the ones that deliver their vegetables to McDonald's. They have a wide range of inspection statuses based on all kinds of criteria. So what makes it even stronger is to assign a default inspection status. So for example, in this case, we have a purchase received. So we purchase items, they arrive at the at the warehouse, and for all items, they will get an inspection status, and the default inspection status here will be received. I can change that. I put on a reason code. I can also say, well, look, if I receive a specific item, in this case, it's a box of lemons, even more specific, from this specific vendor. So if we open up this list, if vendor import BV sends me a box of lemons, I don't want it to have received. I want to have it received sample at random. So Foodware knows the functionality of random checks that's involved here. So I can set it up exactly the way I want. And also, if we go back to the detailed stock overview, we calculate the stock overview again. Let's say that we select lot, well, let's select lot number 40. 1 second, let me use another screen. Alright, lots. Okay. These are the dark chocolates. In this case, over here, I can change the inspection status because it was on hand for, over here, and now we can set it to block. So in that case, nobody can do it. Nobody can do anything with it anymore. I can assign reason codes for. In this case, we don't have a complaint reason code, but I can assign reason codes to it as well. So just to go back to the PowerPoint, we get a complaint from the customer, and by changing the inspection status, we block the inventory of the finished product. And then we apply tracking and tracing. I want to switch. I'll come back to this in a second. What do we do with tracking and tracing? In this case, all the items go from purchase all the way to sales. And tracking and tracing allows you to do the whole math 2 ways. So first of all, tracing allows you to go from a sales order, from a sales invoice actually, all the way back to a sales shipment, to a sales order, to a production order probably, to a received product. So pretty much bottom up. And that means, okay, which raw materials have gone into this finished product, and tracking does the other way around. So if we identify that this raw material is wrong, or this the milk that we put in the chocolate was not good, for example, or the cocoa butter was not good, then we can also see, if we turn the tracking and tracing around, where did this go into? So this raw material, in which production orders was it set to go? 1 second, I'll share it to you. Let's, okay. I open the item tracing screen here. In this case, there isn't. So what we're doing right here, for this specific batch number, for this specific item, we are tracking from sales to purchase. And in this case, there isn't much to show for technical reasons. And if I want to return it, you see that it will switch over here. It will trade from origin to usage. And usually, I would get a tree format here that shows me, okay, this is where the product went into, and this is where it has been sold to. So I can not only go back to my vendor, but I can also inform my other customers that take these products out of the shelves because something may be wrong with it. Now, the first step in the process is to block the inventory of the finished product. Then we do tracking and tracing. And in case of a customer complaint, and in case we find that this complaint was justified, we can do a recall. So if we go back to the non-conformance that we created, we go to the customer non-conformance, this one we just created, we can, over here, we can create a return order straight away. So that is integration. Non-conformance module is not NAV, it's foodware, but it is fully integrated into NAV functionality to create a return order. Also, once we've done the tracking and tracing, we can block the inventory of the raw materials because we don't want those raw materials to go into any other product. So, what is probably most important, if we do a check on the finished products, well, it may be that not all the products are bad. Some may be good, some may be bad. That is where quality control comes and I'll show you how we've set that up. If I go to quality control, we have the base specifications, and I want to show you two specifications. Again, we're going to the receipt side. First of all, this is the specification for all chocolate products. Second of all, this is a receipt for white chocolate. White chocolate. Oh. I'm back again. Do you hear me?
Yes, we do. You can.
Okay. I'm sorry. We had a technical hiccup. Let's reconnect. Let's see how it works. Okay. There we are again. Yeah, it works again. Good. Let's switch to full screen. So in this case, let's open up the specification for all chocolate products. Okay. So we see that chocolate's obviously an item from the item category sweets, and we have a group assigned to it, which is chocolate. And under chocolate we have two categories, but we haven't filled this in because it applies to all chocolate items. What is also important, I do this at checkpoint code received. So people often ask me, does this allow me to get HACCP certified, to get those quality certifications? No, it is not a proof that you can do this. But on the other side, it helps you to set it up, and because it can be at receipt, it can be a production output, any point that you want to define. I've set up a method here, and in this case, it's a general check. Now, what is this general check? Let's take a look at it. Okay, we added it. In the general check, I need to check the driver, I need to check the truck, and I need to check carry out the general check. Alright, so that's what we know. That's what we have to do for all chocolate. Let's go to the white chocolate now. In this case, chocolate is white at receipt. There's a different method here. There's a temperature check here. Oh, 1 second, let's open up the temperature check. So what do we have to do if we have to measure temperature? We have to measure the product temperature. And what is probably more important here, if you look at the limits, we have to take it into account. So the target result here is 6. So let's suppose that we blocked the inventory of the finished product. We did that tracking and tracing. We went back to the raw material, which is white chocolate. So now we're going to check quality. In that case, we create a quality registration. So here I create a new registration, and I say, okay, I select white chocolate. In this case, we are at receipt, suppose, and I pull up the specification lines. Now, white chocolate is both chocolate and it is white. So I expect the lines from two specifications to pop up in this registration. We also include equipment calibration, but I'm not talking about it today. Alright, and what you see here is that, I'll minimize this one for a second, you get two lines, the general check and the temperature check. If I select the general one, I open up the steps, I see the steps that have been defined as such. If I select the temperature, you see those changes, and now you see the temperature in the truck and the product temperature, where I can fill in the values and I can actually calculate the result in the conclusion. So in this case, if I scroll to the right here, it will tell me conclusion result good, because I didn't fill anything in for the truck, because I have to enter an option here. So from this stage, back to PowerPoint, we did a recheck. And two things can happen with recheck. Either it's rejected, and then we file a complaint to the vendor, right, to the person that delivered the goods to us. Or we say, well, look, part of it, or part of the lot, part of the batch was good, part of the batch was bad. So for the bad part, we send that back to the vendor, and we create a purchase return. But for the good part, we create a sublot. And for the sublot, which receives a different unique number, which will have a connection to the original number, we will give and we will approve that. So that's where quality control, inspection status, they all come together again. For example, I can change the lot information number here, and then I can also change the inspection status. What we saw before, we can change it over here as well. So, okay, we spoke about this. Two things that I want to stretch that are very important here. First of all, this is the flow of goods in the traditional company. And what we usually see is that companies put in PCs at 3 stages: at receipt, at production, or at shipment. So usually, goods are coming in, they are posted as raw materials into the warehouse, they are produced or they are consumed in production, then it becomes an end product, it's moved back to the warehouse, and in the end it's shipped. So with foodware quality control, we allow you to do direct quality control based on the inspection statuses in combination with the checkpoint codes, and we also allow you to do ad hoc quality control. The one that I just did, the one that I just carried out for the milk, the white chocolate, that's a typical example of an ad hoc control. But if you set the system up, for example, you will not be able to ship goods as long as the quality has not been checked. In order to guarantee this quality to your customers. And finally, what is probably very good to know is that this, of course, this is available on PCs, but this is also available on tablets. So you can give your quality employee a tablet, you can send him into the warehouse. I mean, he doesn't need to bring a whole PC, or he doesn't need to write things down on paper. Now he can directly register it in the application. So that is pretty much how we cover quality. And I would like to know, are there any questions about that?
William, we at the beginning of the webinar, we told the participants that all the questions should be asked at the end of the webinar. So you can proceed.
Okay, sure. In that case, I want to address one more point, also looking at the time. And I want to address the point of product specifications. Product specifications is tied into quality, and but it's difficult to manage, because you have to comply with labeling requirements from your customers, from the government probably. But specifications, especially if you have a complex production process, it's hard to manage. So it's often managed in a separate system. We have integrated it into an ERP solution. So what do we do? Let's say we have a finished product that is tomato soup, and we have 12 cans of 0.5 liter. That finished product consists of a semi-product, being the soup that is stored in a can, and 12 cans are stored on a tray. If you look into the soup, there's water in it, there's tomatoes in it, in this case there's meatballs in it, and there's a herbal mix in it. Now, the good thing about foodware is that we allow you to define your product specifications on the lowest level. So in this case, it's about the meatballs. You define the nutritional values, the dietary information, the ingredients, the allergens, and the other data for the meatballs. And of course, that meatball can be a semi-product as well. But let's assume that we purchase it, and as such, it's a raw material. We define that for the water as well. We define it for the tomatoes, and we define it for the herbal mix. And thereafter, of course, if semi-products come in, or packaging comes in halfway the product, we define it for those products as well. And in the end, based on production bill of material, and I'll show you that in a second, we calculate the specifications of the end product. So instead of having to do all the calculations manually, we allow you to do this fully automatic actually. So let's take a look at the application. I'm staying in the quality part for now, and I'm moving into the product specifications module. So what you can see here is that I have product specifications for a finished product. Actually, this is my chocolate assortment box that we have seen on earlier. It's based on an item, and what you can see if we open up the tabs here is that all kind of nutritional value is captured here per 100 grams. And the same applies to microbiological information, which isn't present apparently. Dietary information, well, there isn't any. So there's all kinds of information as much as you need it. Also, for example, we have allergen information, which is very important for legislation nowadays. We have it according to multiple reporting standards, and we have ingredients. And so what is in this chocolate box? Now, if you would have to fill this in manually, it would be a time-consuming process, which is very prone to mistakes. I mean, I can make a typing error quite quickly here. And if that is printed on all my labels, I'm quite in trouble. So what we did, we made it based on the bill of materials. So I'm going into the item card right now, and I'm showing you the item that we saw. And in this case, we see that we replenished this item based on a production order. In this case, there is a production bill of material assigned to it as well. So let's look that up. And the bill of material is pretty much a list of the components that are in your product. So in this case, we have the bill of material for the chocolate assortment box, and these are the components that we find within within that product. So all that we have to do is to set up the specifications for the raw materials and for the packaging items. We have to put this one to certified, and we fill it in on the item card. And thereafter, if we go back to the specifications, all that we do is assigning or creating a specification, which in this case is exactly the same name, for the specific item. We press the button, calculate food declaration, and it takes all the specification, it takes all the values from the raw materials, and based on the quantities defined in the bill of materials, it takes them to the finished product. To show you what that looks like in the report, I've just printed this one. So there's all kinds of information here. There's of course an image, there's ingredient declaration according to multiple standards. So all the information of your finished products is captured over here. Allergen information is there, whether ingredients or whether the product contains nuts. Here you go, the peanuts may be present there. Packaging information is there, how much packaging is used, nutritional values. Imagine it and it's there. Expiration date, track and tracing information. And if you close this one And if I close this one as well, and I go to the product specification, open the product bomb tree, if I select the chocolate assortment that we spoke about, I can see that these are the items based on the bill of material that are reflected in the specification. So again, this is the product. We store the information over here, add the information over there, and take it all the way up here. That is it for me, Jodanka. That's how we want to manage quality.
Okay, William, thank you for your detailed presentation today. Just giving the participants some more time to enter their questions. I will transfer the screen to Todor so that he could show us the contacts of FTS Bulgaria, where you can call us and ask whatever questions you may have, or probably you can ask to organize a demo, especially for your company. Okay, so you see the phone and the email where you can find also more information about the solution. You can receive a recording of the webinar if you want. So I see that there are no questions for the moment. Again, thanks to Mr. Kunchev and William for these presentations today. Okay. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.